And hello everybody, my name is Nico the Legend, also known as the Willow Man, a teenager, the Snowflake, the Rambling Idiot, and Vigil, and I'm here to give you bad news. Yes, I'm all about the bad news, and this time we're talking about Metroid Prime Trilogy. Is a Switch port possible? The answer is no, 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 no. And I'll get to explain that just a second. Before we get into that, folks, hello, my name is Nico. Of course, I'm here on the YouTube channel. I appreciate any like, comments, or subscribe. It would mean a lot, guys. I appreciate it. All right, thank you. So let's get into this article right here, folks. We got Metroid Prime Trilogy Switch port, unlikely, says former Retro Studios development. So what we'll do, we'll read through this article and I'll give you my opinions on it. So, Samus, it ever was. It's another tough week for Metroid fans as Michael Wicken, the former lead designer on all three Metroid Prime games, took to Facebook to discuss why he thinks a Switch port of the Metroid Prime trilogy isn't likely to happen. RIP. Biggest issue is that Retro Studios no longer has functional editor tools to work with the Prime code base, so everything has to be brute force hard-coded. Rebuilding the hundreds of interaction sets in Metroid Prime 3 alone, not to mention retuning the gameplay to take in the slower engagement pacing of conventional controls, would probably take a year with a 4 to 5 person team full-time by itself. Which doesn't sound too bad, but I think it's gonna be hell on earth doing that. Rumors of the re-release of the Metroid Prime trilogy has been making the rounds since at least 2018, but nothing has ever come of them. If Wiccan's testimony is to be trusted, which it likely is, as someone intimately familiar with all three games, then it's just a rumor and no more. Next quote. I'm pretty skeptical it will happen. It was straightforward to update Metroid Prime 1 and Metroid Prime 2 to motion controls, but converting Metroid Prime 3 to normal controls would be a Herculean effort, as it is scripted very specifically using volumetric triggers to detect the motion in precise manners to do specific switches, and the bosses are tuned to take into account the ease of gestural aiming. It wouldn't be the first time that a port has been rendered impossible by the lack of decent archiving and preservation in the games industry, either. Final Fantasy VIII was infamously not included in Square Enix's re-release of old Final Fantasy games in 2018 because the masters, the original code for the game, were lost. Even the games that did get saved in some form still involved having to recreate backgrounds and character art because the art in the old games had been compressed to save space and the HD versions had evidently been thrown away or lost. Yeah, keep everything, guys. Don't throw anything away like that. That's not good. However, this year's Skyward Sword re-release on the Switch has done what Wicken here says is Herculean, rewriting a specifically motion-controlled game to be controlled normally. Perhaps Skyward Sword is a proof of concept for more Wii ports on the Switch, or perhaps it's something that takes a monumental amount of effort that only Nintendo themselves are able to afford. Well, that's pretty much it, folks. So, with that said, with the Metroid Prime Trilogy Switch port, very unlikely. Makes a lot of people a little pretty sad for those that want this trilogy to come back out. Hey, I'll give you my honest opinion. I mean, if the best port we could get is the Wii version where all of them are motion controls, I'd be okay with that. Or if it's vice versa, if you can bring the first two games, Metroid Prime 1 and 2, with GameCube controls, you know, conventional, and just keep Metroid Prime 3 motion control, I'm okay with that as well. I think that'd be easy adaptation for that. Now, Metroid Prime 3, reverse engineering itself into basic controls, especially when everything revolves around motion controls, like it said, the bosses and all that. Yeah, it would be a pain in the butt, and they would definitely have to put more work into it. And also working with old systems as well, considering that's in the past, a long time ago, and then now we're here. So, it'd be a bummer if there's no filler on the Switch, but hey, guess what, guys? You got, if Switch owners out there, or anybody that owns a Wii U or a Wii or a GameCube, you got multiple ways of owning Metroid Prime on the GameCube, the Wii, and the Wii U. Also, if you have a Switch and you're jonesing for some Metroid, there is original Metroid on the NES Entertainment thing that they got going on with the Switch Online, and also they have Super Metroid with the SNES Online stuff. So there's always an option to get some kind of Metroid. I know we're all waiting for Metroid Prime 4, which is going to take a while, but I think it's going to be a great game. I have high respect for Retro Studios and Nintendo treating Metroid, so only time will tell. But all in all, folks, yeah, it is sad to see and hear. But what do you guys think about this? Do you think a Switch port is still coming along the way just because a former developer said that it's really hard? But hey, sometimes that great challenge is what drives us forward, right? So let me know if you think it's going to happen still or not. And what do you think about what he said? I've been your host, Nico the Legend. I have just told you about Metroid Prime Trilogy Switch port. Unlikely, unfortunately. So sorry, Samus. You can't see that beautiful. So guys, appreciate it. Take care. I've been Nico the Legend. Have a good day. I just want to die.